This is by far the biggest tile cutter I've ever used. It's the 8102E8L by VEVOR. They sent this to me to review, and just comparing it to this little tile cutter that I typically see, look at how much bigger this one is. It's ridiculous. So you can fit up to a 4-foot tile on this cutter. So if you're doing big rectangular tiles like this is probably the tile cutter you're gonna need. So let's go ahead and try to cut this one the long way. I love that it has a laser guide on it too. It's the first time I've ever seen that on a tile cutter like this. So we'll line the tile up to the top, and here's the cutter wheel right here. You wanna make sure the snapping foot gets stowed away. There's like a little magnetic catch right here. So just have that forward. You're gonna bring the handle back, lower the wheel till it touches the tile, and then in one firm motion, you're gonna score the entire tile. So that's what the score looks like right there. It goes across the entire length of the tile. And then you're gonna release the snapper, bring it back to about right there. And in one quick motion, you snap it, and it breaks evenly right across that score line. So that actually worked really well. I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of nervous because with the long tiles, it's really hard to get a clean cut, but that just worked fantastic. And this isn't even a full width tile, so it would be more prone to kind of cracking off of the line. So this is fantastic for those 2-foot rectangular tiles. I've got this big wet saw that I use for tile jobs, and even this doesn't have the capacity to do 2-foot tiles. All right, so some of the other features you have are these support wings that can come out to the side if you're doing a lateral cut. So if you got a long tile like this, and you're just cutting the length of it, those support arms will help support the tile. But look, I'm not really that impressed with them. They're just kind of plastic. You can see how loose they are here, but you know, they get the job done. You can always fold this up and stow it away if you don't need it. The main body is aluminum, so it's never gonna rust. So if you do have some tiles where you're using wet saw, you can jump back and forth, and you're not gonna worry about this thing rusting. The top bar here is like an I-beam steel support bar. The cutter runs on ball bearings, so it's really smooth, and you really don't get a lot of deflection as you're pressing down. You've also got this adjustable fence, so you can set this as a side stop. You can change the angle of it. So it can help you out for like certain diagonal cuts like this. But this is another area that I'm not super impressed with because it's plastic, it's very flimsy. So I wouldn't rely on this alone, but that's not really a big deal for me because I would always be making marks directly on the tile with pencil and then simply using the laser to line up to those marks. So I've never used fences like this on any tile job I've done. So really, that's not a big deal. So the reason to get this tile cutter is for the large capacity. It works great. Cuts a lot smoother than I was expecting. So if you have long tiles that you need to cut, this is the tile cutter you need. I actually haven't ever seen a tile cutter this big. It must be pretty rare. It's not something you can just go into the store and buy. Now, I wouldn't use this on every tile job just because it is so big. If you can get away with a smaller tile cutter, that's definitely what you should do. But for big tiles like this, you have to have a big tile cutter, and you don't want to have to use a wet saw for everything, even if you have a pass-through wet saw, because it just takes so much more time to cut every single tile. This is so much faster than a wet saw. So if you have big tiles, this is exactly what you need.